apparently Google is trying to inoculate us from misinformation and conspiracy theories through pre-bunking campaigns. Now, these are the topics that Google and its partners are trying to pre-bunk against: COVID, immigration, climate change, elections, Ukraine, authoritarian propaganda, oh, ironic, and distrust in democratic institutions. Ah, I see COVID is first on that list there. Don't you find it a bit ironic, since half of the stuff they try to debunk or pre-bunk on things like COVID origins, like if it came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, vaccines, COVID, natural immunity, turned out to be false and more like propaganda to promote a certain narrative, because there's too much evidence to prove that COVID was extremely unlikely to have originated naturally. Natural immunity has always been a viable thing, and in fact, actually, the more boosters or jabs that you get, the more likely you are to actually to contract the virus instead of just getting it through natural means and building up a natural tolerance to it. You're simply less likely to get sick again from it if you just build a natural immunity. Now, mind you, I'm putting this out there. We here on this channel are not against vaccines entirely. We do know that they can serve a good purpose, especially for those that have compromised immune systems and or, can't really do the things naturally, need a little help from actual science. But like just in this particular case, there's studies, and even Pfizer stated that natural immunity proved to have a better immunity boost to fighting against COVID than even their own vaccine, and especially with their own vaccine plus a booster, in addition to the several other boosters. This just seems like another way for them to censor things out and to keep a certain narrative alive, so that way people would be blind to what's actually going on. But before we go on and get into this more though, cue intro. Google, in partnership with Cambridge University, are trying to use 90-second clips on manipulation techniques. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Since it seems like that's what they've actually been trying to do to us for the past 3 years almost. Let's look at what's going on with this stuff though. Google is attempting to inoculate people against harmful content on social media by preemptively debunking misinformation or conspiracy theories using pre-bunking strategies. Oh wait, you mean conspiracy theories like the ones on COVID/COVID jabs that were labeled as such by the mainstream media, big pharma, big tech, governments, etc., which have been proving to be more and more conspiracy facts, like natural immunity viability, COVID jabs/boosters lacking efficacy, or it proving less likely to have occurred naturally when it comes to its origins. Now, we've done videos on all of that with facts and statistics to back them up from people in the medical field and professionals with doctorates, etc. Know what else is fucked up? The fact that you guys haven't hit that like button or smashed the shit out of the subscribe button yet. It really does help us out whenever you guys do this, and it also helps us to get further up in that algorithm to let other people know that they're not crazy for questioning this stuff, and it's okay to think independently of these systems that we live in. All that out of the way though, let's go ahead and hop right back on into the video. The online experiment led by the University of Cambridge in the UK exposes users to tropes at the root of malicious propaganda via short animations so that they can better identify online falsehoods regardless of the subject matter. In the study, published in the journal Science Advances on Wednesday, researchers, including those from Google's Jigsaw unit, exposed people to 90-second clips designated to familiarize users with manipulation techniques. Is it really for that? Or is it, I don't know, maybe so that way y'all in big business and the government can try to hide this stuff and gaslight us, so that way we become docile and don't question you while we suffer continuously and y'all get to live it up? When these clips are deployed in YouTube's advert slot, scientists say they can help inoculate people against misinformation or conspiracy theories. Scientists say this strategy is more effective at fighting misinformation than fact-checking each untruth truth after it spreads, since it's impossible to do at a larger scale. Hard to imagine that. It's almost like you can't stop the spread of information or something. Researchers compare the effort to vaccination, adding that it gives people a microdose of misinformation in advance to prevent them from falling for it in the future. An idea that is based on what social psychologists call the inoculation theory. You can't control or police this stuff. Fact-checking didn't work, really, and this stuff is more than likely not going to work either. People just need to be shown information without censoring/filtering it, and just have the raw truth and just think critically for themselves. The cold, hard truth is always going to be the best thing possible for anybody, especially long term, because lies are always going to weed themselves out, and the truth never really hurts anybody. Honestly, it sets them free. How about we show them all the misinformation that the government, big tech, big pharma, and the mainstream media put out there about natural immunity or the efficacy of COVID vaccines. Pretty short, by the way. Plus, they're 50+ boosters. Oh, that's right. They don't want you to see that because they could lose millions of dollars if you guys figured that out and don't get your 4th or 5th booster shot. Now, I was watching some Russell Brand today while I was at my part-time job, and there's this really interesting interview that he shared from the Newsweek, and it was about this medical student of 7+ years, somebody who's going to get their doctorates, and his whole thought process on this and how it's changed from the start of all this stuff with COVID and the pandemics. Let's take a look at what he has to say about this stuff now. Labeling this speech misinformation and blaming it on scientific illiteracy and ignorance, the government conspired with big tech to aggressively suppress it, erasing the valid political concerns of the government's opponents. And this despite the fact that the pandemic policy was created by a razor-thin sliver of American society who anointed themselves to preside over the working class, members of academia, government, medicine, journalism, tech, and public health who are highly educated and privileged. From the comfort of their privilege, this elite prizes paternalism as opposed to average Americans who laud self-reliance and whose daily lives routinely demand that they reckon with risk. That does sound kind of familiar, doesn't it? That many of our leaders neglected to consider the lived experience of those across the class divide is unconscionable, incomprehensible to us due to this class divide. We severely judged lockdown critics as lazy, backwards, even evil. Would you imagine that? We dismissed as grifters those who represented their interests. We believed misinformation energized the ignorant, and we refused to accept that such people simply had a different valid point of view. We crafted policy for the people without consulting them. If our public health officials had led with less hubris, the course of the pandemic in the United States might have had a very different outcome with far fewer lost lives. Imagine that. It's almost like we've been saying that this whole time. Instead, we have witnessed a massive and ongoing loss of life in America due to the distrust of vaccines and the healthcare system, a massive concentration in wealth by already wealthy elites, a rise in suicides and gun violence, especially among the poor. Imagine that. A near doubling of the rate of depression and anxiety disorders, especially among the young, a catastrophic loss of educational attainment among already disadvantaged children, and among those most vulnerable, a massive loss of trust in healthcare, science, scientific authorities, and political leaders more broadly. Go on, put it on. Do I have to? Go on. Yeah, that's literally what we've been saying here this whole time on this fucking channel. And it's only getting fucking worse. Like, that's the thing. Until people realize and they stop putting up with this bullcrap and replace these systems that are proving to be corrupt and not working for the people, but rather for themselves and for the elites of the world and their own pockets. And what's the title of this article called? It's time for the scientific community to admit we were wrong about COVID and it cost lives. Man, imagine that. It's almost like we've said that several times on this channel, and especially when Trump was still president or shortly after Biden went into office. It's almost like, if they just would have sat there and quit putting political bias and the interests of the wealthy ahead of the average everyday person, that we could have saved millions of people's lives. Hard to imagine that one, isn't it? This is the stuff that they don't want us to know, you guys. And if you had paid a decent amount of attention to this stuff, you would see it that it's happening, unless you were being manipulated or brainwashed into thinking a certain way because of what's on your news screen constantly blowing up, or on TikTok and other social medias, which, oh wait, what are those a part of? Big tech. And they were cooperating with the government and big pharma to make those messages come out. So you guys don't question these things. Like, it's getting really, really hard to deny it at this point. Alrighty, but that's enough about what I think. What do you guys think about this stuff? My adoring tribe members, new viewers, etc. Is misinformation or this inoculation through pre-bunking just another means to sit here and manipulate people and distract them from what's actually going on, so these elite people can just keep fucking us over while we suffer? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this stuff. I think it's just really kind of messed up, the fact that they keep doing this stuff to us and lying to us. Like, this isn't how these systems are supposed to be ran. They're supposed to be a lot better and not nearly like this. It's so corrupt that people can't afford basic things, and it's starting to get really fucking obvious, and people are getting more and more fed up. Like, other countries around the world started rioting and protesting about this stuff prior, but anything that happened with us here in the US was just shut down, or anything else, because we've been propagandized so much with the mainstream media to be docile and to not question these things and label anybody that does as a freaking crazy loony bin conspiracy theorist, which again proves the point that this term, when it was coined by the CIA in the 1950s, has since been used as a derogatory term to basically sit here and label anybody crazy that questions the corruption within the systems that we have. But all that aside though, if you guys did make it to the end of this video, go and leave the word truth in the comment section down below to let me know that you made it to the end and that you guys are part of the 100% club. However, if you guys want a more interactive experience with us, come join us live on streams here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Central Time, where we talk about things like this, share dark humor, play some video games like Pokemon Unite. You guys get to see me rage out because of how stupid people are, and, you know, just chill out and have a good time with us. Love to have more people in there, you know, because the more the merrier. And also, feel free to come join us in our Discord, the Z Tribe, where we talk about things like this again, share dark humor memes, other memes, and, you know, talk about philosophical and spiritual things as well too, gaming, and just have a good time. In addition to, you know, having events like movie/woo night on every other Friday, like this coming one, where we watch movie documentaries on things like how Hitler didn't kill himself and the significant documentation and backing by the CIA, FBI, and other intelligence communities of the world's investigations to prove that Hitler actually didn't kill himself, and anime, cartoons, like cartoon movies, etc. And just really whatever floats our mood. Love to have more people in there for those. As usual though, my dudes, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Really does mean a lot to me whenever you guys do this, in addition to helping us get further up in the YouTube algorithm to get more of this information out to people that want to hear it, and to help them understand that they are not crazy and it's okay to question these systems that we live in, because that's part of life. Like, how are we supposed to improve it unless we continuously question them, you know, and actively make for them to make good, moral, ethical change, not to benefit them, but to benefit everybody. Now, until next time, my dudes, please don't forget to live long and prosper, take care and peace, keep it 1,000,000% real, and remember, fuck the system. I will see you guys on the flip side. You!